people. Runway is back with Generation 4, and I'm going to put it to the test against itself. So Generation 3 was a little bit underwhelming, and I actually originally canceled my subscription to Runway, but I renewed it to try to test this for everyone out here to see if Gen 4 is worth it. I do want to talk a little bit about how much it costs and how much you get from what you're paying and compare it to, say, something like Kling, which we know is very good and pretty cost effective. So, when it comes to Runway, it's $15 a month. With this new Gen 4, each generation takes a full 60 credits. So at the end of the day, you only get 12 clips of 5 seconds apiece for your $15 a month subscription. Whereas, say, something like Kling, it's only $9 a month. Again, you get at 660 credits. But each of the generations through Kling are only about 20 to 35 credits. You get about double the output for less cost. So, if Runway Gen 4 is better than Kling, then hey, maybe it's worth it. But we're going to test it today and just see how it is against the first generation or the previous generation of Runway. So I'm going to hop right in and show you guys exactly how we did. So I'm going to have 2 different scenes, and then each of these scenes are going to have 3 different prompts. The prompts are going to get a little bit harder as we go, and I want to notice some differences and get your guys' opinion on what you think is better. So a couple things to keep in mind before I press play on any of these. One of the complaints that I had previously about Runway 3 is that instead of the character moving, it was more about the camera itself moving and the scene kind of transforming. And it wasn't really listening to the prompt as much of, what you actually wanted the character to do. And I'm hoping that Runway 4.0 shows an improvement of this. So I want to get your guys' opinion. So first of all, Rosh and I, we have a classic prompt with some of these of just bring to life. So this is our easiest prompt, and it sometimes gets us the best results because it just lets the engine do what it needs to do with the scene. So let's take a peek here at what Runway 3 Turbo did for us. And again, they made this character kind of float up, and the video camera's moving, but the character itself didn't move at all. It didn't look anything natural. Let's look at it again. Look at the fire in the back. It's like slow motion fire and the sparks and everything. So I wouldn't really say this brought it to life that well. Let's see how Runway 4.0 did. Oh, yes. Now, except for what looked like a little bit of an unnatural step as he's falling from the sky here, right there, it's like he stepped off of nothing, but then he landed on the ground. He kneeled over. The fire in the background looks great. The sparks look great. This truly does look like a warrior that's, coming down from, jumping up high and making a move. And I'd say a drastic improvement here from Runway 3 to Runway 4.0. So it's off to a great start. It's doing really well. All right, let's get this prompt a little bit more in depth. So at this point, we want the warrior's cape and hair to flow with the motion. We want the fire to flicker and the embers to move realistically. And also, I wanted a little bit of a camera shake for impact. So let's see how 3 Turbo did on this. And the character's moving a little bit. He jumps kind of off of nothing. His cape is moving. The fire does look a little more realistic. So it did better with a little more complex prompt. I didn't see any sort of camera shake for impact. And again, the camera was really, really moving and being dynamic on this one. So altogether good, but the character did jump off of nothing midair. So that was kind of weird. So it looks okay. But let's see how 4.0 did. He's again floating up, but now he's getting the cape and he's coming back down naturally. Some of those motions look good. I think generating the cape out of nowhere looked a little bit odd. The fire in the background definitely looks great. I mean, I think they really nailed the fire look. And again, the camera's being kind of dynamic. So this one's okay, but definitely still, again, better than 3 Turbo. So I really like it so far. It's doing a good job, off to a great start. Some pretty good looking motion there. And, we've got the sword kind of moving around. That's looking natural. He's got some motion blur in there. With the right prompting, this could be a pretty believable scene. So I think it's off to a pretty good start, Runway. All right, so now we've got generate a high energy animation, a warrior midair executing a powerful swing, the cape and the hair moving so fluidly, the sword movement should feel weighty and impactful. Fire in the background flickers with motion. Apply a realistic motion blur and dynamic physics for a dramatic cinematic feel. Wow, what a long prompt. We're asking a lot out of it. Let's see what Turbo 3 did with all that prompting. Again, jumping off of nothing midair, moving backwards. You see his hair moving. That's a bonus. And actually, his clothes are moving naturally. But again, the fire looks a little more real, but not really. But why is this character moving backwards? That's kind of weird. So again, it did okay, but I'm not the biggest fan of Runway 3.0. And again, that's one of the reasons why I canceled the subscription to that. So will Runway 4.0 earn my continued subscription? Let's keep looking. So here's this one. Character kind of floating midair, but now moving naturally. And then, ooh, I love that move at the end. So again, it is moving the camera in a dynamic way. But look at this last frame here. You could even see that the sword looks a little heavy, and it's got that motion blur. It looks really good. Let's peek at this a couple more times. Fire looks great. Embers look great. The character itself, once he gets moving, looks really good. So some good fluid motions. It's kind of weird that he just floats midair in the beginning of it, but hey, could be a scene from the Matrix or something. He could have special powers to where gravity doesn't quite work on him. But the fire and the whole scene and everything feels really good. And I think the motion of the cape and the whole outfit looks really natural. And again, Runway 4 just beat Runway 3. It's doing great, off to a good start. It's doing much better than Turbo 3, but is it as good as Kling? Is it as good as some of its competitors? I don't know. I don't think so. So, all right, let's check out another scene. We always love to do a kind of a classic scene of somebody walking through an alleyway with some wet images and signage and see how they move. So let's see how Runway did with these ones. So let's start again with our classic prompt of bring to life. And this is where Turbo 3 really did not do well. So the character's face is obviously facing us, but when he's bringing it to life, he's walking backwards, forwards, I don't know. So, I mean, the fluidity of him walking looks pretty good. And, you know, the actual everything moving across the screen looks really good. But the character's head is backwards. So there's some, miscommunication here. Let's see how Runway 4.0 did with this one. Oh, yes. Much better. Now, outside of just throwing in this random puddle that he's walking through, and the ripples don't really look natural. It looks like there's something in the middle of the puddle right here. So it kind of gave me something extra that I wasn't asking for. But if you ignore that and look at how the character's actually moving and he's facing and the camera's moving, I think this one looks really good. So again, Runway 4.0 is in the lead over Runway 3 Turbo. All right, now let's get the prompt a little more complex here. So I want the neon signs to flicker. I want the fog to move slightly, and I want the figure to shift his weight and turn their head slightly. All right, so Turbo 3, it's moving. I don't see the signs flickering. I don't see the character moving its head or shifting its weight. It literally didn't listen to me at all with the prompt. It just zoomed in on the character. And again, another one of those reasons why I'm not that happy with Runway. But if you look at, to give it some credit here, the reflections in the wet ground look really good. There's some other elements of it that are pretty good, but it's not listening to my prompt. So if it's not going to listen to my prompt, why have it? So let's see how Runway 4.0 did with this same prompt. All right, so now he's making the character move. The camera's not moving. He is turning his head and shifting his weight. So, I mean, it's okay. But when he first starts moving, he doesn't really move towards the camera. He kind of stands still for a little bit. And the rest of the scene is completely static, not dynamic at all. I don't see any signs flickering. I don't see any fog moving. I mean, they did okay with the shadows here on the ground. The walking's smoothish, but it's okay, but it's not great. So, Runway, you're still lagging behind a little bit. All right, last one. Super long prompt. So we want a smooth animation, cyberpunk alleyway scene. The character walks towards the camera at a steady pace, reaching in their pocket to pull out a cell phone, pause for a moment, answer the call. Meanwhile, the neon signs flickering, the fog moving, the rain glistening. Keep the animation natural with realistic motion physics. So this is a lot of prompting. Let's see how 3 Turbo did. He pulls out one phone. He pulls out another phone, so he must be really busy. I like his walking. That looks pretty natural in this one, but I didn't ask him to take out 2 cell phones, so that's a little bit weird. And the cell phones look like they're facing outward because the screens are glowing in that kind of way. So there's some elements to this where it's just not that good. But in its last try here, let's see how Runway 4.0 does with this advanced prompt. He's walking. He pulls out a phone. It glows. Pulls it up to his face. That's pretty good. So we did get rid of, now it looked like in his, let's say, left hand here is what glowed originally, and then all of a sudden the phone was in his right hand, so there was a little bit of an issue there, but altogether, the walking looks good, the lighting of the phone looks really good, illuminating his face, but I still didn't get any sort of background prompting here where, say, the signs flickered or the fog moved or anything like that. So Runway 4.0, you're definitely better than Generation 3, but I'm only comparing you against yourself here. And there are other programs out there that are doing a much better job taking the prompting and for lack of a better term, running with it and doing a better job. And say Kling, for example, I talked to you in the beginning of the video here. It's actually a better value. You're getting more generations for the cost, and it's performing, I'd say, still across the board better. So we've gotten to the end of the video here. My main crux of this video is it worth it? And you know what? At $15 a month and only getting about 12 clips for this, so it's over $1 per clip, I'm going to give it a big and say, you know what? This one is not worth it. I will not be renewing my Runway subscription. I will continue to use Kling, and I'm going to compare it to some of the other competitors to Kling going forward and see, where the top of the pile is. But Runway, trying hard, but you're not there yet. So we're going to keep you in mind. So as Runway 4.5 or Runway 5.0 comes out, hopefully it makes these improvements. I hope you're enjoying these videos. And if you are, please like and subscribe. And the best way to stay up to date with all the latest news in AI is to check out Rosh and I's podcast every Monday. We talk about 20-30 minutes about all the latest updates in the world of AI. We're going to be here on our YouTube channel and also on all the popular streaming podcast platforms. So please like and subscribe, follow us, give us a comment, let us know how things are looking. And until then, we're just two creative guys talking AI.